What's up, guys? We've got one of my awesome students here, Alejandro Perez, better known as Alex from Miami, Florida. Thank you for being here, brother.
Well, y'all, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Cool, man. So just to jump out the gate, what were some of the things you were struggling with mindset wise before joining this program?
It's a good question. Before joining this program, I would just say I had a completely set of goals. Like I had no idea about sales, especially the remote sales space. Um,
Mm,
I had a good understanding of like my mindset was like I need to have a business. Like I want to have a business. I want to escape that 9 to 5 route. I want to make my own money and not have to be dependent on a company paying me X amount.
yeah.
And after getting introduced to remote sales, um, it kind of showed me that you could have that same lifestyle of having the time freedom and not having someone breathing down your neck.
Mm,
And you could all do that from like the comfort of your home. So that was the biggest mentality switch I would say is opening up my mind to sales as not what I thought it was before, like kind of the slimy sales, typical stuff you see online.
yeah. And so you could have like chose, there's a ton of different things out there to like get your income right, to get your life right. There's plenty of online stuff. There's Shopify, there's Dropship, which is drop shipping. There's Amazon FBA, there's SMMA, and you actually were in SMMA and like fully had a business in that, and then you decided to switch over to remote sales. Can you tell me like why did you pivot out of SMMA to like make the financial freedom happen and the remote freedom happen and not having to answer to the boss, right? And why you switched over to remote sales, to high ticket closing to do that.
Yeah. So like backtrack a little bit like before. Like when I started the social media marketing agency, doing my own thing, like I thought it was just gonna be like everything you see on YouTube, the Iman Gaji stuff, just skyrocket. You're gonna be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Um, like I guess everything shifted quick, and while doing like the SMA stuff, I saw kind of all the hurdles you're gonna have to like surpass. And going into it, I mean, I was working at, you know this, Evan, like at a tech company. I had pretty good communication skills, but I had no idea what it actually meant
Mm,
to know how to sell.
yeah.
And that's something that I experienced with the SMA out doing the sales meetings and stuff like that. I was able to gain knowledge, but I had no framework. I had no understanding. And I knew I needed to learn like an actual skill before I could even start a business. Like, sure, yeah, if I had the money and I wanted to hire salespeople to sell for me, but like I was doing all this myself, and I knew
Yeah.
eventually, I needed to make the money in order to hire someone because or learn the skill of sales because it's
Yeah.
just sell, um, when you don't really know the frameworks and stuff like that.
Yeah. True. Cool, man. So you decided to go with remote sales. Obviously, had a little bit of um, experience with it, right? But why did you? Because even with remote sales, there's plenty of programs out there. Like, why did you enroll into Six Figure Remote Closer?
Yeah. To be fair, like I would say I've looked at other sales programs before Evans. So I'm not gonna say like specific names and stuff, but I got a very like just sales like sale like the typical slimy sale, like very pushy. Um, I don't know. I just didn't really get the vibe. And I mean, like the
Mm,
first time I met with you, Evan, like you kind of directed me towards a different direction. You were like, you should buy an SMA course so someone could teach you how to do SMA. And just seeing like the authenticity behind everything you were saying, like I
mm,
knew like you had good intentions. Like I knew you
mm.
weren't trying to collect my payment and not care if I make it or not. So that's kind of what led me going back to you again after saying like, hey, like I want to try this remote closing stuff, remote sales stuff, and I want to do it with you just because you had the authenticity, and that's like something that is just so important. Like the value you gave to me on my first call is more value than anyone has ever given to me on any sales call. And I expect you to like I was just explaining to you, like I feel like the most important thing is giving value. And that's something I definitely felt like I received from you just from the first call. So I was like, imagine what I could even get from the program.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. What was the value? Do you remember the value I gave you? I know I remember, but do you
Um,
remember what I said to you?
I don't think I remember specifically, but I know you were like kind of telling me like the all the sayings and stuff of like you should go with the other program just because like you were saying something about the training and stuff. Like if you could train with Michael Jordan, it was some saying like that. Or like
Yeah,
the point, like you need to learn how to flip your own objections on the other
yeah,
side. So I got a lot from that.
yeah. So I think if it's okay if I take the wheel here, because I remember what I said. What I said was, so you were having a hard time because you were like, I really want to, get into social media marketing agency, and I just saw how passionate you were about it. And I felt like on that call, I said, you know what, I'm just gonna give this guy advice because I'm very familiar with SMA. I've been a part of two different companies that do that, and actually worked for a guy who is in the high ticket space who sold his SMMA. So I know quite a lot. And I said, dude, what I would do if I were you is I would, instead of like testing and trying to make it work all on your own, dude, if you're really like committed to doing SMMA, which at the time you were, I could see that. And like remote sales, I was probably not going to be able to convince you different. Even though I believe remote sales is way better than SMMA, I just knew how committed you were, and I just wanted to give you some real advice because I have a friend, a very close friend, who is successful in SMA. So I said, dude, just go buy from him. And I'm like, why aren't you buying from him? You're like, well, I just don't have the money. And so I said, dude, you need to flip your own objections that are in your head to help you help yourself and help your business. I said, dude, if you could work with Michael Jordan, why wouldn't you? Doesn't matter how much it costs. If you're trying to be a pro, you're going to pay Michael Jordan because what you learn from Michael is going to pay you a lot
Mhm.
in the long term. You're going to learn a lot from Michael. So I told you, and I didn't even know who the SMA coach that you were wanting to invest with. I didn't even know who it was, but I just assumed they were good. I think I asked you, do they have testimonials and stuff? Like, are they for real? And you said, yeah. I said, well, go and pay them, dude. Like, don't waste your time. And then you came back a few weeks later. Do you remember what sort of exactly switched that for you, or what was it? Because I appreciate you saying I was genuine, but was there something that made you go, I
Yeah.
just should probably do remote sales?
So like the biggest switch for me was, I mean, I know for a fact, like I'm definitely gonna want to start a business at some point, but the
Mm,
biggest was, I mean, I was making maybe $2,000 a month, and I knew like competing with so many people that have so much more money than me. They're investing into their business. Like
mm,
if I'm gonna make this work, I'm gonna have to just bust my ass off. But like I knew it would just be so hard, and like I wanted to make a skill where I could make some pretty good money to then invest into an actual business.
got
And that
you.
kind of like flipped the switch, and I was like, I could learn a very valuable skill while doing this. So like
Mm,
that, I said, why not?
very smart. Very smart. That was exactly my attitude when I like first started working with John, because I had my own agency as well. I'm like in the same shoes as you. You know what I mean? Like I literally was making my own agency, and I said, all right, I'm going to do this thing. I went to one mastermind. I even paid a coach at the time. I even invested to a coach, and John talked me out of it because he had just sold his and was like, yo, dude, like you don't know what's out there. You don't know what you're doing. Let me help you. He saw in me what I couldn't see in myself. He was just wise enough to tell me and coach me differently. He convinced me to not do it. Best decision I ever made in my life. So what was your main concern that, if anything, like that almost prevented you from joining us? Like, and so what also put those fears to rest as well?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing was just like the fear that it wouldn't work out. Like I'm gonna put X amount of money and invest it into myself, and if this doesn't work out, I just wasted it. Um,
Yeah.
kind of the way I was thinking about it. I was just very, very, very scared. I've never invested into a program before. This is the first program.
Let's go, baby. I got your
Yes.
virginity, man. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
So, uh, so yeah, it was just the jump was the scariest part, but like I was watching just like a lot of like videos and stuff, and like everyone always says it, like when you feel most scared to make the jump, that's when you should do it. And I kind of like there was nothing that killed the fear. I was always scared. Like I was always like, I don't know if this is gonna work, but if I don't do it, who knows? So I had to do
Yeah.
it. Took the jump, knowing 100% that I was gonna be scared, but I recommend everyone else to make the jump too, because it's unbelievable with like the amount of hard work you put into something. If you have the right vehicle and the right mentorship and guidance, you could do a lot of great things.
Yeah. So what would you so you did take the jump, obviously, you're here. And was that fear something that actually like drove you to have success? Because you had the quickest success of anyone who's ever joined this program. Was that fear sort of a driving factor for you, or because you did it in how many days? Like 21 or 22 days you got a position?
Yeah, so I got placed into my first offer, my first and only offer, like 20 days into the program, put in my 2 weeks. So started like my job maybe a month and a week in. But yeah, 20
Wow.
first offer. So that's huge.
Yeah. Then what can you detail your comp structure as well with that offer? Because it's not like any old offer, dude. It's like a really good offer.
Yeah. So it's I'm getting paid a 3K base, um 150 per booked appointment, 250, so $100 on top of the 150 if he converts into a sale. And then after 3 sales, so if you go 4 sales and up, um you're getting paid 350.
Got you. Okay. So, I mean, assuming, and like I know some of them will close because you've already had 3 appointments that have showed, so you've already made $450,
Mhm.
correct?
Um,
And it,
yeah, that's correct. Not excluding like the base, like just commission.
yeah, just commission excluding the base. So you're already getting paid the 3 grand no matter what. And
Mhm.
then you have the 450 coming on top. And this is assuming, so worst case scenario, right? You don't get any better at setting. So you're at least booking 3 per week that are showing.
Yeah,
Which that's assuming you get no better. This is your first week working there, a full week, right? First full week.
yeah. Like I'm in my first week. Like today's Wednesday.
Yes,
This is like my first full week. Yeah.
full week of on the phone. So you've had 3 people show up to a call. So you got $450. I mean, just assuming you get no better, you will make $1,800 in commission in addition to the 3 grand worst case scenario. Because you already said you have 9 pending appointments. Yeah.
Yeah. So like in total of the booked appointments I have like 9 booked appointments, and out of those 9, 3 of them have been pitched an offer. They didn't convert into a sale, but I still get paid for that.
Okay. Okay. So you've already booked an additional 6 appointments.
Yeah. So
Okay. So worst case scenario, this month you make $4,800. Like assuming that 3 show per week, which is that, and that's assuming you get no better. Is that pretty? Does that
yeah,
math check out?
yeah, that's correct.
Worst case scenario, that's assuming no deals close this month. So you're at least going to make $4,800. You probably have the potential to make like 6K if stuff starts to close and you get better at setting appointments. So that's really good. And I hope I'm not stretching that math, by the way. Like I just went thinking 3 booked appointments that showed in your first week. I'm just extending that out to a month. So that's 12 times 150 is 1,800. I think that math is right.
Yeah. I mean, if I would say I've been on the phones for 6 days now, and I have 9 booked appointments.
Okay.
So
So
I would imagine the more, like as soon as like the days start catching up, like the booked appointments start lining up, like my goal is to have at least 5 booked appointments a week.
got you.
Um, and hopefully out of those 5, we get like 4 to show up. Or all
Got
five
you.
take them all.
So then you're making $600 a week. In that case, you make $2,400 extra on top of the 3 grand. But that's awesome, dude, because you fired your boss like you wanted to, and now you're making more money than you were before, right?
Yeah.
So, dude, that's awesome, man. That's sick. Um, and you did it in 20 days. That is so fast, dude. Like, that is awesome, man. So what surprised you the most or made you the happiest about joining Six Figure Remote Closer?
I would say the biggest thing that surprised me the most was like I was kind of expecting this to be like kind of like a one-man journey. Like I'm gonna just join this program, I'm gonna be the only dude in here. Like I'm just gonna kind of just figure it all on my own, have Evan support, have him coach me up. But like the biggest thing was like the community. Like
Mm,
like Alan, Dylan, Moises, like doing role plays with them and stuff. Like I would have never thought that I would have like became pretty good friends with them. Um,
yeah,
and like I mean, I'm always texting them all the time, trying to see how they're doing. They're texting, checking up on me. So yeah, I mean, I
yeah,
made 5 friends that are like in the same space as me, which is huge because like in my real life, I don't have anyone that's like trying to do what I'm doing. So, and I feel like that's
yeah,
when you're if you're just kind of stuck in a bubble where everyone's just doing like the whole 9 to 5, going into an office or working for their dad's business, you could kind of get stuck in that. And just being able to
yeah,
other people grinding and trying to achieve what you're achieving and seeing them accomplish things too, it kind of gives you more it just gives you motivation. It's like if they could do it, why not?
yeah. True. Yeah, dude, and that's awesome, man. The thing that comes to my mind when you say that though is because I have such a small group.
Mm-hmm.
And by such a small group, I mean I'm only really taking in 5 to 10 people at a time. And for you specifically, you're here for 20 days. There's only 5 people, really, 4 or 5 people that you could even talk to. A lot of people, that would be a turnoff for them that there's not like a bajillion people in this group like every other sales course out there. So I'm curious from your perspective, what would you say to that person that's like, there's not a bajillion people in here. There's only 5 people that I'm in here in the same process at the same time, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe there's only 10 or 15 or 20 even. Um, like, what would you say to that person who's like, there's not enough people here?
Yeah. Um, I would say like, yeah, sure, you go to any other program, but and they're gonna have maybe 100 students, 200 students, maybe even more. Um, but just like with the fact that there's only 5 people in here, it makes it such a tight knit group, and like it just
Yeah,
feels way more authentic. Like it just feels more like a little family. Like I
yeah,
see guys like on Monday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, Friday afternoon, like and you just constantly see them doing role plays, people typing stuff in the chat, kind of saying like, hey, like I'm doing this or whatever, anyone want to role play. Um, I mean, yeah, you see these guys every day, so it's
yeah.
and like the classes isn't just like I feel like if you're in a class of 200 people, like
It's
yeah,
gonna be, yeah, it's not very intimate.
yeah, like sure, I would imagine it's probably a hell of a program, just like any other program. There's a lot of great programs out there. But here it's like it's just so like if I want to talk to you and I could spend an hour talking to you, I could talk the whole hour and you're there to listen. It's not like I need to like kind of cut people off
Fight.
like 20 seconds.
Yeah,
Like you have the undevoted attention to like give to each single person and know everyone's specific situation. Um like stuff like outside of sales in my personal life, just like because it's just 5 of us, it's 5, 6 of us, and
yeah.
yeah, it's great.
Sweet, man. I appreciate that. Well, was there anything like with the program? This will be my like, second to last question. Is there anything with the program that exceeded your expectations?
Yeah, I would just say as far as like so this is my first sales program, first program in general. I have no like I had no understanding of sales going into this.
Mm,
Like I would just say like the framework of like all the videos and all like the blueprints you gave with all the questions was just it came it was just very handy. And my
Mm,
favorite part that like exceeded the program is like the role plays. Like it's huge. Like if like sure you could study sales, like you could buy millions of dollars of books. You could read everything back front, but like unless you're in the fire, like actually role playing with people, there's there's no like you could get better, but there's no way to actually test yourself unless you're actually role playing with students that are
yeah.
giving objections and you're kind of trying to figure everything out.
Yeah. Knowledge without application is just knowledge. It's not worth anything, right? A skill is an action word. There's an application there. So you're saying the stuff you learn from the program, the stuff you learn from even the sales books, even probably work better because it's actually being applied. It can actually make you money, right? So um, that's cool, man. Well, so obviously you're 20 days in, so you're making 3,000 a month. Probably gonna hit, I gotta say, at least 40, 4,500. If like we already broke down the worst case scenario is probably 4,800, but just to play it safe,
Mm.
you have the chance to make 5, 6K. Obviously, you're not here just to be a setter. As a closer, which could happen very soon if you keep performing the way that you are, how much would you be making? Like, what's the current closer making in the company that you're at?
Yeah, so we only have one closer, so he's taking all the calls. I'm hoping more calls start coming in, so they got to bring one of us up. But he's doing. I mean, this is my first month. He's doing like 14K a month,
Wow.
just so that would be a huge transition if I get on that boat.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I believe you will if you just keep performing. Because, like you said yesterday, not in this interview, obviously, but we were chatting just prior to this. You were saying that uh, you're the CEO. They booked like the whole team booked 5 appointments, and you were 4 of those. And he was like, "Wow," just surprised. If you keep doing stuff like that, the obvious choice when the calendars are too packed for the closer, the obvious choice to move up is going to be you, not the person who's been there the longest, because you're the one that's performing. So if you keep it up, like I have no doubt that you're going to be that person. I have a feeling the CEO that you're working for will make you that. And if he doesn't, it'd be kind of weird, to be honest, because he is so successful. Like he would know better. But I have a feeling you're going to do very well, man. When you become a closer, that is when things start to get good and you're really making the moolah like for real. But you're already making some moolah, dude. You're already making almost. You're gonna make double what you've made previously. So that's awesome, man. Just to wrap things up, if someone was considering joining this program and they were on the fence,
Mhm.
what would you say to them?
Oof. I would say if they're considering it, they're on the fence, and yeah, I would say like there's never gonna be the perfect moment. Like if what you're waiting for is like, oh, like give me 2 months, give me 2 months, I'm gonna save this amount of money and like it's gonna be all smooth sailing and then I could just put the money down and it'll be easy from there. Like if you think it's gonna be hard, I would make the jump because it's just that pressure on your back. Like it's kind of like you're not gonna do anything unless you invest into a program. Well, I'm not saying not do anything because there's people that can do stuff on their own, but a lot of people, myself included, I needed that pressure on my back. And
Mm,
I was kind of scared to make that jump. Like, and I was waiting for that perfect time. There's never going to be the
yeah,
perfect, like, the time is now. And if you're going to make that jump, make it now because if you wait longer down the road, they're like, it's never going to come. It's really
true,
never. So make that jump now and figure out once you're in the program, have that pressure on your back. And I'm sure you'll do great things.
true. The best time to start is yesterday. The next best time to start is today. It's
Mhm.
kind of like there's like a phrase that goes around in the entrepreneur space. It's like, when was the best time to plant a tree? Probably 20 years ago. When's the next best time? Today. So if you're trying to build a tree, which is your life, and you want it to be a big, beautiful tree that people will look at and say, wow, look at that. The best time to do it was probably in the past, right? Should have done it when you first got the idea that I want a beautiful tree, and the next best time is now. But you said it beautifully. I just had to say that analogy because it is one that's thrown around in the entrepreneur space, and it's pretty wise that you say that. So now you can use that analogy when you're closing, and somebody says, "I should do it later. I want to wait till I'm in a better position." Ask them. They're going to be confused. When's the best time to plant a tree? So anyways, dude, I really appreciate all the kind words. Um, yeah, man, is there anything else you want to say before we go? Are we good? Think that was
Uh,
cool?
no, I appreciate for you having me. And I mean, if it wasn't for your support, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So, like I said, the previous question, if you're skeptical, nervous, um, scared, that's a good sign. It means you should make the jump.
Yeah. This is normal, dude. Even I get scared, even to this day, when I'm about to make an investment. But the inner voice, which is the true me, says you should just do it, right? So, all right, Alex from Miami, the man who got it done the quickest out of anyone who's ever joined my program, and I have had this program open for like 19 months now. So, congratulations, brother.
Appreciate it. Later, y'all.